Aspects of Tamil Nadu that have not been in establishment so far. I immensely thank Indoy Analytics for organizing and managing such an event. Now I invite Sri Ratan Shardaji and our organizers Sri Bharat Gopuji and Sri Sham Shekharji on stage. Please everyone welcome them with a round of applause. Indian civilization is made up of diverse culture, colors, and language, yet still thrived and strived to stay as one for centuries. Our first guest for the day, Sri Ratan Sharda ji, is here to talk about diversity and unity. Ratan Sharda ji is an author and a freelance columnist. He has written 5 books on RSS and also done a PhD on RSS. His 2 upcoming books are Evolution of RSS and a book on Guru Nanak Dev. He has translated 2 books of Guruji apart from editing, designing of 12 books ranging from cookery and files to management. He is also a renowned TV personality. I invite you, sir, to share your thoughts on diversity and unity. Over to you, sir.
Vanakkam, everybody. It was a wonderful opening of the program today morning. Whenever you come to Chennai, you become a little more humble because the people here, the people who have achieved something are so simple and so humble that you have nothing but respect for them. I saw Dr. Nalli, I saw Srimati Shiva Shankari. Then who are we? These are scholars and these are people who have done so much for the society. I also must thank Bharatji and his entire team for taking an initiative which is not easy. I have been to many litfests to work on a program with very limited manpower and start something which is bound to grow big, I am very sure. So I congratulate him on taking this courage to start this program despite COVID, with COVID. So thank you, Bharatji, and all the best to you. Coming to the topic itself, first of all, I thank that you have made me the opening batsman for your programs. But I'll be more like Shrikant than like Sanjay Tendulkar. So I'll bat fast and maybe try to finish fast. I may get out also. You don't know. So actually, the topic that I had said was diversity in unity. Somehow in the phone discussion, it became diversity and unity, but same thing. It's we can interpret either ways. What truth you see can be seen as unity, what truth you see can also be seen as diversity. You can either say it's a place is full of trees or you can say it's a big forest. So that depends on your vision. I'll begin with a quote from Tiruvalluvar because the topic is such today in the divisive times of elections. He says, there may be many who will gladly face death in the battlefield, but few who will face a hostile society. So I bow to the audience, and in this possible hostility, I am presenting my views. My view is that culture, we have one culture, we have a culture which is presented in a diverse way across Bharat, across India, but the idea remains unifying. So that is my fundamental proposition. Instead of saying that unity in diversity, I say diversity in unity because either you can say you are diverse till one, then you have to find what is the unifying thread. If you say I am one, from south to north, from east to west, but I express my ideas, express my feelings in different ways because geography changes, people change. In our, we have a saying in Punjabi, must be there in all the Indian languages because we are all one, that every 10 miles language changes. If that is a recognition we have seen, then naturally we believe in diversity. I'll come up with some examples which we all of us view but don't really realize the importance of those examples in how unified our thoughts are, how we actually think the same way. When you go to a vegetable shop or when you go to old shopkeeper, not the new kinds, not the super malls, when you buy something, the shopkeeper puts something extra, right? Or you say, thoda mirchi de do, thoda adrak de do. So that is called in Punjabi or North runga. But the same word, Mani Hariji, RSS intellectual, has gone and talked to many people. So it's the same word across India is known as Vasaru, Osaru, Sheen, Savaiya, Setu, Chunga, Choga, Happa, Navadana, Mandani, among other. So imagine one practice across Bharat. It is only in India. You go anywhere in the world, nobody will offer you runga. Nobody will offer you something more. What is that something more? It is his recognition that if error happens, error should happen on my side, not the customer side. That is the original thought. Because whenever he does business, he does it with dharma. That feeling of dharma that I must return back something, not less, because I am doing something on that part. Then there is a concept of boni. When you go to somebody, he says, boni ka time hai, pay me good, or you also say, okay, first sauda, do something more. This is also universal in India only. There is nobody outside who will say boni hai. You can try go in USA, or nobody will talk of boni. Only in Bharat, and that is also known as with different names like Bhavani, Bhoni, Tikappa, etc. Only in India, a shopkeeper worships his gaddi, his seat, nowhere else. And nobody dared sit in that seat till the shopkeeper or the trader asks. Now, when a businessman or shopkeeper offers a seat, it is the ultimate respect that he shows to you. That is also typically Indian. Anywhere in India, you will say the same thing. Any artist bows to the stage, does namaskaram. Anywhere in India, from north to south. Whether you are singing, whether you are dancing, you will first bow to the stage. Because for us, stage is also temple. For us, singing and drama or the nataka is also way to God. In many other religions, it's a sin. You can't sing, you cannot be happy. But we say we may reach God through this very space. And that is the reason we have found various kind of saints and rishis who have reached the godhood through natya, through singing, etc. We have many games which are common all over India. There is a game where you put stones and somebody throws the ball and drops the stones. It is there everywhere in India. It is not just in Maharashtra or anywhere. There are games like Atta Patta. There are games like, which is called Upatta, Noona, Loona, Gitte, and there is one game with pebbles which only girls play. Now sometimes boys also play when you throw the pebbles and catch it. And anywhere in India, it is played by girls. Nobody made a rule. There is no Olympics committee. It is there for thousands of years. Whether you go to Nagaland, whether you go to Kerala, that is the way it is. So what is this? This is typical way of looking at our culture that all of us have same practices based on our dharmic way of life. Then there are many funny things also that you can remember. When somebody enters the room, what does the Englishman say? Or somebody speaking, think of the devil and he is there. What do we say? 100 saal umar hogi, you will be 100 years because I just remembered you. This way of looking at things, we don't say God fearing. It's only in English we say he's a God fearing man. Why should I fear God? My God is not vengeful. My God is my friend, my God is my sister, brother, guru. Tamev mata cha pita tameva. You can play with the God. So small child, Krishna is in our home, we play with him. So this feeling of God as one of us versus God fearing is again something that is typically Indian. We say a new child is born, we say Punyatma has come. When somebody goes, we say Punyatma has gone. But in Abrahamic religions, every human being who is born is born out of sin. So see the contrasting view. And this does not differ whether you are so-called Dravid, whether you are Aryan so-called, you some kind of Naga, etc. But all of us, because we are all belong to the same dharmic tradition, there is again something very common. There is a very wonderful example that RSS leader Manmohan Vaidyaji gives. Once he was in Assam, and he doesn't take normal tea, he takes just tea bag tea with only water. So he went there and there were 4 RSS people and he said, I want this water, this tea. And after they had finished the tea, he saw there was a commotion, some kind of argument going on the counter. So he asked, what is it? They said, this lady refuses to take money for your tea. She said, this is not tea, I just gave hot water. I will not take what is not mine. This feeling, so deep rooted somewhere in jungle, somewhere in remote areas. And it's that same experience he had in Prayag also. This beauty of taking only that much which is mine, not charging for water. We of course pay for water now. So this dharma of offering water free and not charging for it something, whether in Assam, whether in Prayag or in Tamil Nadu, I am very sure they will not also charge. This feeling Or if you are taking some food on some food stall or in restaurant, a beggar comes, the owner will not allow you to give him bhiksha. He says it's my responsibility, and he will either offer a bhiksha or ask the person to show away, but he will not allow you to give bhiksha. Why? Because that person has come to his door. This sense of dharma is prevalent across Bharat. You have animal, you have Jallikattu, you have got Kambala in Karnataka, you have got various other bullock games across Bharat, whether it's Punjab or Kashmir or it is UP. So all these things tell us that we are all following same traditions. We talk of ahimsa, we talk of hinsa. Jains talk of only vegetarian food, and what does Thiruvalluvar says? He says, how can one who eats the flesh of others to swell his flesh show compassion? So this approach of Jainas who came from north and here in south, Thiruvalluvar being same, it shows our thinking is same. There are also many geographical markers which tell us we are same. We talk about Kumbh Mela, now there is one in Haridwar. So people across Bharat, every 12 years in each place, they go across Bharat, there is no marketing. There is no talk, there is no talk of sect, no talk of tribe, no talk of any religion. Every sect, every religious group goes there without invitation. Millions of people go there. So this feeling of oneness which has started, we don't know when. Thousands of years back, we do not know. But it's there without any difference whether you are in south or north. Water is taken from Rameshwaram to do Abhishekam of Kashi Vishwanath. Similarly, water is brought from Ganga to offer Abhishekam to Rameshwaram. Who started the practice? We do not know. But it's there. Geography was defined by various people, right from Vedakal to Chanakya to Kalidasa, who told us that Bharat is from Himalaya to Indus Sagar or Indian Ocean. And they would say that Bharat looks like a stretched bow. How did they see? We do not know. But old times to new times, Bharat is a geographical entity. It is very well known. So this sense of unity, Mahabharata talks about every region of Bharat. Pandyan king was part of Mahabharata. Northeast was part of Mahabharata. Kings came from all over Bharat to fight that Mahabharata. Now this was much before we talk of Dravid Aryan differences or talk of different places. So this sense of historical unity, of cultural unity existed at that time. We even look at Mahabharata as 4,000-year-old. You can imagine Veda Kal, where we talked about Bharat as one, where the shlokas talked about Himalaya, Asetu Himalaya, etc. Ramayana, Rama crossed all over Bharat. Straight from Ayodhya, he came right up to Lanka, and he met people across the regions, tribals and local people. And we have Kamba Ramayana also. Now, Kamba Ramayana was written by in 300 or more versions, but this particular Ramayana also written by Kamba. Now, we don't want Ramayana, we want only Kamba. Is it not possible? So that way of thinking is something that we have to look at. We have same Panchanga with slightly difference how you look at the moon. That is the only difference. Otherwise, Panchanga across Bharat is same. It's very funny. You have Karnataka people, you have got Tamil people, you have got Kashmir, you have got Punjab, you have got Assam. We have same Panchanga. So how did it come? That is something you have to think. There are festivals which are different names. They say Assam is celebrating something, Tamil Nadu is celebrating something, but if you really look at it, it's same festival everywhere. And why these celebrations, most of them are related to nature. We worship trees, we worship rivers, we worship ocean, we worship every possible kind of manifestation of the Supreme Being. That is how we look at nature. So this worshipping of nature and mountains comes from different places. You have Batukamma in Andhra, you have got Chhat Puja in Bihar, you have got Pana Sankranti in Odisha, Vata Savitri in Maharashtra. All these basically are way of worshipping your nature and your nature as a god. We have Makar Sankraman, one of the biggest calendar-based event, which is celebrated across Bharat. Our newspaper will give something is happening in Tamil Nadu, something is happening in Maharashtra, but Makar Sankraman is Magh Bihu in Assam, Maghi in Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Sukarat in Central India, Pongal in Tamil Nadu, Uttarayan in Gujarat, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Gukuti in West Bengal, and Sankranti in Andhra Pradesh and also Telangana, and Shishu Sankranti in Kashmir. There is Diwali, which is celebrated because Ram killed Ravan, but in South you say Narakasura was killed by Krishna, but day is same. So this sense of unity we can see again and in Vijayadashmi, Navaratri in Gujarat with Garba, Ramleela in UP with Ramleela, or in South Karnataka you got Golu, All these various functions basically are all celebrating the same culture, same sense of Bharat. Gudi Padwa is also celebrated across. If you look at Baisakhi, it is celebrated as Puthandu in Tamil Nadu, Vishu in Kerala, Baisakhi in Punjab, Poila Baishakhi in West Bengal, Pana Sankranti in other states. So if you find, everywhere we have sense of unity, sense of belonging. We cannot say that we are different. It is only the way we celebrate is different. Kerala may celebrate differently, Punjab may celebrate differently. There is also a deep sense of family and deep sense of society, obligation to society. We don't say what society has done for me. I don't say that I am the only one, I have right on my life, it's my way or highway, because we believe in complete unity of individual with family, with society, and with the Rashtra. This is the feeling which is across Bharat. Whether anybody in Dravida Kazagam says that I don't have a sense of family or sense of society, I don't believe that, because that is inherent in our culture. In concept of wealth also, we in Upanishad say tena tak tena bhunjita. What is yours, you only enjoy that much. What is not yours, don't use it. Similarly, Tiruvalluvar says he regarded wealth as means and not an end. He condemned hoarding and described hoarded wealth as profitless richness, which is same that the Upanishads tell us. Now we come to the typical problem of Tamil Nadu, where you talk of diversity from the Dravid Aryan angle. Now to start with, I would again quote Tiruvalluvar, who said, those who pretend to know what they don't will be thought ignorant of even what they know. That is the problem with Dravid culture today as it is being propagated. There are scientific discoveries now. Saraswati has been discovered and agreed that Saraswati river existed. There is deep genetic study by Harvard University, by Deccan University, with international level DNA test, with huge sample size. They all say we have the same DNA. So whether it's black color, whether it's white color, whether fair, whether foul, whether my nose is sharp or it's flattened, we are all we have same DNA, because it is only geography which makes changes in somebody's face. And what are the base of original Aryan Dravida diversity? Some bishop from UK said index of nose. Can you believe it? How long or how sharp your nose is, depending on that whether Aryan or you're Dravid. By that very definition, I should be Dravidian. I am dark, my nose is not sharp. I could be Dravidian, but I am Aryan, if that is the definition. So this thought was, first of all, opposed by Dr. Ambedkar, whom even Dravidians claim to worship. But he was the first one to flout this theory of Aryan Dravid divide. Adi Shankara himself said, I am a Dravida Shishu, meaning child of land surrounded by water from three sides while river is north. To come to think of it, Shankaracharya goes from Kerala all the way to establish 4 mathams at 4 different ends of Bharat. So he had a deep sense of Bharat, deep sense of unity with Bharat. Now some people say Keladi excavations will prove that Dravid civilization exists. Nobody doubted it. In fact, I would welcome that Keladi shows that there are civilizations across Bharat during the same period. It is not a question of difference, it is a question of, again, a question of unity. Now, who started this? So there was Bishop Robert Caldwell who created this theory. And what did he say? This is the most insulting part which any DK should be ashamed of. He said South Indian mind was structurally different from North Indian mind, and that Dravidians were ignorant and dense, accusing cunning Aryan agents for keeping them in shackles. Dravid is the land of large number of mathematicians, largest number of scientists, astronomers. To call them this, and then based on this, Dravidians say that we are different, our culture is different. So this itself shows that there is something very wrong with the thinking. Then we had Bishop G.V. Pope, who claimed Tamil classics came with the underpinning of Christianity. Either you claim that you belong to Sangamam period, Tamil Sangam, which was 6 BCE, etc., etc., or you say that Christians brought a civilization. Then what happens to all your old culture, or what happens to all your scriptures, all your old literature? So these strange things which we refuse, now they are matching times to somehow say that Tiruvalluvar was actually influenced by, who is that, Saint Thomas. If this is the kind of theory that is being sold to us in the name of diversity, we better watch out. So this is how the entire DK movement started. This is how entire Dravidian Aryan division started. which is itself based on total falsity, total fakehood. I wish Sandeep Balakrishnan was there today. He has not been able to come. If you go to his site dharmadispatch.in, you will find wonderful essays where he shows that how these scholars created this entire, narrative. There are theses in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai University, which are no basis except referring to something which doesn't exist. There is also talk of Sangam literature. We say that, we respect Murugan, that's our presiding deity, so entire Tamil worships Murugan. But we don't want Ganesha, we don't want Shiva. So father will not do, younger brother will not do, but only Murugan will do. Now, how rational is that? They believe they have brought themselves the halo of being rationalists. Is this rational? And Sangamam period was 6 BC to 3 CE, and there they talk of, in first Sangam, they talk of Agastya Muni. From where did Agastya Muni come? North. And Shiva. Then in the entire language, you have got reference to Hindu gods, Yaga, Yajna, Vedas, Karma theory, all the sanskaras, and astrology. They name Bhagwan Shiva, primal god, etc. Now, beside this, if claim that no, we are not part of this entire culture, then they have to go and check their rationality. Thiruvalluvar talks about Purusharthas, which is similar to Purusharthas we talk about in our normal so-called Aryan thinking. So where is the difference? These differences are not based on any of this. And I am not a classicist. I am not studied much of Tamil, but it is said that Sanskrit Varnamala numerals are very close to Tamil. And also, if you look at Tamil script, has evolved from Brahmi Tamil, as they call it, from 3 BC. So if we have borrowed from each other, we should be happy to claim the integration and integrity of this entire culture, rather than trying to kill some part of history to create a narrative that we are outsiders. Chola Raja is not accepted today. Why is not accepted? His kingdom, this entire kingdom was from 850 CE to 1280 CE. He created an empire right from this Dravida land to entire Southeast Asia. He created such an influence that entire Southeast Asia, whether Vietnam or you go to various places like Vietnam and Thailand, etc., everywhere you find Cambodia, etc., you find huge temples. You find people connected to Hinduism. This great empire was built by Chola, and we don't want them because why? He built Shiva temples. So your history closes from this period of 850 CE to 1280 CE because Raja Chola is not acceptable because he worshipped Shiva. But if such a great king can be banished from history, then where is the rationality? I am not even, for once you leave aside whether it is Dravid narrative or Aryan narrative, do you believe that 2000 years back or 1500 years back somebody could have influenced from north to change the entire narrative of South? Was South really dense as Caldwell claims? So we have to think about it, that what kind of narrative we are speaking. We are talking of what is actually represents unity is being banished from the land in the name of diversity. By that actually, destroying the very great culture of Tamil Nadu. As I said, Kambar is acceptable, but Ramayana is not acceptable, which is written by Kambar. So we have to look at it. And if you look at Tamil Nadu itself, you find sign of Hindu Dharma everywhere. If you come to specifically the Hindu Dharma, Rama temples are present in every village. In fact, only in Tamil Nadu you will find temples dedicated to individual episodes of Ramayana. You have in Dhanushkodi, you have a temple of Vibhishana, who was consecrated by Rama. In one place called Janaki Valli temple in Madura Kantakam, there is Ram with Sita without Hanuman, the only place. Why? Because Rama told Hanuman to go to Ayodhya, so Bharat is worried, I should reach there in time, but I will take Sita to Nibandha Krishi, or as he called Periya Nambigal. So he holds Sita's hand and as if guiding her to meet the Rishi. Hanuman is not there. In no other temple in Bharat, you will find a Rama temple without Hanuman. That is the kind of narrative which is inherent in Tamil Nadu. It is not brought from outside. So this itself tells you that we have same culture. We have Villupuram, which is bow of Rama. And actually, if you throw a stone anywhere in Tamil Nadu, it will hit either a Rama or a Shiva or a Krishna, or some may be carrying all the three names. Nobody forced them. There was no clever Aryan coming to tell these guileless Dravidas that your culture is nothing. Such a strong culture, if it can be, it can come only with nurturing of ideas, nurturing of people coming together. So that's why I said that this is one culture expressed in different ways gloriously, which we enjoy. We don't kill in the name of uniformity. We don't kill diversity. We don't say no, you everybody must behave in the same way. Like Christianity says that you must kill your pagan gods, you must destroy all the cultures, and you must only believe in Jesus. All other old memories must be erased. There are still some left. Same in Islam, but we say no. We enjoy diversity. We dance everywhere, we do drama everywhere, in every function, every program. There is no bar anywhere. So this enjoyment of life is inherent in Bharat. That is the basic philosophy. So as Tiruvalluvar says, one who cannot live in harmony with others is regarded as ignorant fool if he happens to be very learned in various matters. So this is the lesson that we should know, that this kind of thinking, though we know that we basically belong to the same unified culture, but if we keep on trying to look at differences, as I said, you mistake a forest for individual trees, then you have a problem there. So we have to come out of this. What kind of pain these people are inflicting? So Tiruvalluvar again says, foolish people inflict pain upon themselves, which is worse than an enemy can bring upon. So we ourselves are destroying the culture of Tamil Nadu. We are destroying the glorious culture of Tamil Nadu. We are equalizing it to the lowest possible denominator rather than raising it to the high level that Tamil was once. So we have to keep on creating this new narrative that we have a wonderful culture. We have a culture which is expressed in a diverse way, but with a culture which is same across Bharat. And we have same feelings, same kind of way of looking at things. So once we keep on saying this, I am very sure Tamil Nadu will rise again. Dhanyavad.